Okay, we're here working on the Pascagoula Catboat Margaret Rose. We just glued up the skeg that's going to go under the keel, back just ahead of the rudder. If you look over on the wheel deck here, that little piece that's got the strap on it pulling it up, that's the keel batten, and that's the transom back there. That's the aft end of the boat. And so underneath where that's pulled up is going to be this little skeg. So we wanted one that was about 1.5 inches wide, so we had plenty of width to attach any kind of rudder hardware to. Plenty strong. So we took our, but we didn't have any lumber that was 16. Let's see, was it? That's about 12 inches tall, I think it is, thereabouts. So we didn't have any lumber that wide, so we just ended up cutting 1.5 inch strips out of 3/4 inch thick cypress, and then just stacking them. We made one big blank first that was rectangle, then we scribed it to the keel. Then we unstacked it and drilled, did a dry fitting, drilled pilot holes for screws. We used some number 10 by 1 1/4, I think they're silicone bronze screws, and these screws have a special head called a Frierson head, which drives a little bit better than a Phillips. So if you're going to use them, get your Frierson bit, put them in. And to get them into the cypress, we use this combination pilot hole and countersink bit. In fact, it's going to be in an article coming up next month in Small Boats magazine. So we got right here, you drill the pilot hole, the countersink, and then you put the screw in. So we did that with every layer, starting from the second layer up. Put either, I think the wider layers at the bottom have probably 4 or 5 screws in them. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then as it got narrower, we'd put 4 or 3 or 2, and up here on the very top, just 1. And what these will act as, they'll do a couple things. They'll hold it together while everything dries, but we're leaving them in. They'll act as little mini drift pins that'll keep these laminations from wandering out of alignment. And also to help to keep everything aligned, we put some more of this, one of our favorite products is TotalBoat THIXO thickened Epoxy Adhesive. This particular batch just happens to be wood colored, so that's what you see, this brown squeezing out between the planks. So the main thing we wanted to talk about today was squeeze out. When you put this product in, you want to get just enough to where you get a thin bead squeeze out. So here we have a nice thin bead coming out. There's a little bit of dry spot there, so I'm going to go back with a little putty knife in a minute and squeeze some in there, take some of this excess and redistribute it. So, and as this sits here, we may get just a little bit more squeeze out over time, but we're not going to wait on it. What you want, you know, what you'd like to avoid is having an area where you've got a lot squeezing out, because then you just need to scrape it off and put it somewhere else. So overall, I think we did about average. Some areas too much, other areas not enough. So we're getting ready to go back and even that out before it gets dried up. And you do kind of want to wipe it down, unless you like to sand, because this will get pretty hard when it dries up, this epoxy. And you probably don't want to, if you don't need to, just take the opportunity now to wipe it down and get it flat. Once this is all dried up, what we're going to do is turn it on its side and run it through our planer to get the sides. You know, there's probably some variations in the, you know, it might be poking out a little bit more on one side than the other. We're going to get it planed flat on both sides. And then we'll be ready to go over and do some final fitting on the boat. So that's the skeg for the Pascagoula Catboat Margaret Rose.